to international football.
Yes.
Because I have not seen Bafana that would just go to Burkina Faso, go to Burundi. The worst result you're looking for there is a draw. You know,
and really you can get back that Bafana, and I'll tell you how.
Yes, and there's just one another thing because with this squad selection, people were asking because they were saying they were expecting Coach Mlefi to transform this team. It's not going to be easy for him to do that now because under 23 has got priority. And that is to qualify for the Olympics.
Yes.
So he will not have access to these players until after November, when we've seen that this team has qualified for Olympics. So I just feel that we need to do the basics right.
Okay.
And I've always maintained that our FA is very weak when it comes to technical matters.
Okay.
You know, and until we have people at the FA who are treating technical matters strongly. You talk about technical director. I don't see that. I work closely with national team coaches sometimes, and sometimes I feel that they're not receiving the support that they're supposed to receive.
Africa.
And I would like to see our 32 coaches in the PSL and the Great Africa Championship, the NFD, working closely with the national teams. I don't get that.
Yep,
I don't get that.
You see,
Because you see, we have a different senior national team compared to most of your West African countries. We have a different national team currently compared to your Senegal, your Ghana, your Nigeria, your Cameroon.
How is
your
it different? How is it different, really?
The team is dominated by locally based players. The team is dominated by locally based players, including the starting lineup. So I would like to see that coordination between those in power.
Okay.
Those in power suffer in the PSL because as much as the coaches talk, but also the coaches will take the cue from those above them.
For me,
All right,
for
Timothy, wrap
Bafana,
it up.
like I was saying, for Bafana,
Yeah.
there are certain simple things you spoke about missing the Bafana of the first 10 years. And I will tell you, you had so many players, Bafana players, who are not playing in Europe week in, week out, but they were always part and parcel of the European setup. So the training is still better than the PSL. If South Africa can encourage most of their players to go to Europe, it's going to transform, South African football, because especially the media, there is that chorus to that the PSL is the best league. I can tell you, it's the best well-run league, not football-wise, competitive-wise, and that one I can tell you. So if we can
technically, we're missing a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's to strike a balance is very key. If you need to get the players, one, to concentrate more on playing, to deliver on the field of play before the hype. You get players who are winning the AFCON, winning the games even before it's played. And that gets into the mindset of the players before the game is played. That's the difference between other African countries and South Africa. They have got the talent. If you get the skill, the applicability of players in South Africa, I can tell you, a South African player will run with the ball, but by the time they are being attacked, he's back in his position. The problem is how they use that skill that is theirs as South Africans to the advantage of the team.
All right. Thank you, Tim. It's a topic again that I can go on. Yes, Coach.
Can I say
Edwin.
something?
Yes, please do.
I think Timothy,
Allow you to say.
and I think Veli says a lot.
Yeah.
I think they say, and if you put it together, then we can understand it. If you look at Nigeria, if you look at Ghana, if you look at Cameroon, I think our African brothers, their mothers, generations ago, I told them, my boy, grow up, play football. The world is an oyster. So that is why also one of the reasons why a lot of our African brothers are employing foreign coaches, because they think most of their players are playing in Europe. So when they call them back, they hire a foreign coach. It will be cheaper for them to instill urgency in them to play.
Yeah.
So then they just carry on the same training methods they get it in Europe, and then they get.
Yeah.
But the pride to play for your country comes from Etathio's land a lot.
Yes.
Most of the Nigerians play out, but when they play for
It's
Nigeria, there is something about that team that says, I am a Nigerian.
Yeah.
You
There you
understand?
go.
Man? There's something about that team, and that is the same thing Eto instilled when he was playing for the Cameroonians.
Yeah.
There's something about that team was said, I am a Nigerian. Veli alluded to this, that 10 years ago, I am a South African. Therefore, I play for South Africa. I am not playing for what you said. Where's the money? You never paid us yet.
Yeah.
That is not a single, that is not
Excuse.
quoted.
Yeah.
That is not an excuse.
Yeah.
You put on that jersey for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
You put on that jersey to die. And like you say, you've got to, you see it sometimes
Yeah.
in the national team.
Yeah.
You see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
You see it in their eyes.
All right, coach, I want to.
but you know, this point that I was mentioning earlier, I don't know what we were discussing, and I was repeating it because we need also a change of mindset
Yeah.
in Africa, because sometimes we seem to dwell too much on the senior national team, and I repeat, what is more important? Which comes first?
It's the elite.
Strong leagues.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we want to see these players moving to Europe, but also at home. And look at this, especially there in West Africa. All these countries that have got senior national team that is doing well, but look at their local football. And
All right.
then you're going to demand that they produce local coaches. Where are those local coaches going to coach?
All right. No, gentlemen, I just want to find out about the coach as well. Since it's here, we have to take advantage about the coach and just hear his thoughts about coaching. He knows it better, of course. And again, we want to involve you who's listening. It is #FranFootball. This is African football, of course. Coach, now, when you talk about this trend about coaches not staying in a particular job for the length of time that a coach wants to make sure that he gets his things together, you know, the team and the planning and so forth. It's difficult these days to plan. So what is at the back of the mind of the coaches? Is a coach always thinking now about that sacking, being fired, or you are solely focused on your job, and when that gun is fired, by that time already you're like, look, but I've given it my best. What goes in the mind of a coach?
Okay. The famous world saying is that once you sign the contract, you fired yourself.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
Yes.
I always say that we work for football, and wherever I've worked, and I can only talk about myself as an individual.
Yes.
Wherever I've worked, I've given 120%, even more,
Yeah.
of my life to this game. And wherever I've worked, I've always thought I've always changed the mentality of the players that I've worked with.
Yes.
And I've always given them something to think about, whether they play for me or whether they play for someone else. I've always tried, and in South African football, yes, there are teams that will give you the opportunity to build,
Okay.
and there are teams that don't have the opportunity to even build. So those things said in South Africa, and I don't know if it's in Africa, but I know North Africa don't have those problems.
Yeah.
In South Africa, we have a lot of teams that don't have facilities,
Yeah.
Yes. True.
and that is one of the bases that allows the coach to come in and say, you know what do you have? I have 4 fields. I have a fully fledged gym. I have an ice bath that's next to me. You know, the normal that's
Yes.
close by.
Yeah.
We still using dirt bins.
That's
Yes.
Rudimentary system.
yeah.
And if I have to give you an example, you spoke about the team that came second at Platinum Stars.
Yeah.
You know why that team came second?
No.
Facility.
We had the best
Everything was
facility
here.
in Africa.
In Africa, yes.
I say that in all respect to everybody else.
Yes.
We had the best facility in
Yeah.
Africa.
Yes. Your own facility.
My own facility. I had the opportunity of having 4 fields that I could choose on
Sure.
to train on only.
Mm.
I had a fully fledged modern gym. I had a pool. I had an ice bath that was built in. I had all those things at my disposal.
Yes.
So when I have the tools that I can compete with a European club, I mean, I had Hoffenheim there, I had Manchester City there. They said this is world class.
Yeah, sure.
If Manchester City did not steal some of those ideas and build their own facility,
There you go. Manchester City stealing. Some of
this
those
is
ideas.
what I
Yes.
you understand. I had two full astroturf pitches that we could train on. So when I went to Africa, I didn't have to think, you know what,
Yes.
I'm going to play in Swaziland now. I'm
Yes.
going to play on AstroTurf. It's going to be hot. I need to have tackies or I need to have 6 stats.
had it
Or
there.
I had it. I put them on AstroTurf for 3 days.
Yeah.
You go to Ivory Coast. We played on AstroTurf. They are acclimatized to those conditions. So we had that facility, and like I say,
It is very sad.
it is very important to have those things at your disposal as a coach. And then you can decide afterwards how we're going to build.
All right. And coach, lastly, on you, again, talking about the coaches in the PSL right now, we see a young coach who's at the helm of Orlando Pirates. Rulani, your thought on this young coach, really promising coach, really having kind of a baptism of fire, put it that way, at the beginning. But one cannot read so much, isn't it, coach, in what is happening? Your thoughts on this coach?
My thoughts on Rolani is that probably the first coach to give Rolani an opportunity
Oh,
was
yes.
Captain Johnson.
Yes, because you worked with him at Platinum
at
Stars.
Platinum
Yes.
Stars.
Yes.
Rolani,
Yes.
Rolani was the under 19 coach, and
Yes.
we won the Platinum Stars. Happened to win something that took them to Germany. They won the under 19 league or something like that.
Yeah.
And I offered Rolani the opportunity to go to Germany and to see what's in Germany and allowed. In fact, Rolani's team at that time played against Thiago Silva and them.
Wow.
Yeah, Messi didn't join the team because he wasn't there. But that's the team that Rolani's team played against. Out of that team, I think that Rolani had that day, I think a few of them played professional football. But the goalkeeper happened to get the man of the tournament, the goalkeeper of the tournament
Yes.
there.
Yes.
It was in Oldenburg or something like that in Germany. But as from then onwards, he always showed a lot of interest, a lot of enthusiasm. And for now, I take my hat off to Dr. Ivan Koza for giving him an opportunity to coach Orlando Pirates. It's not a small team.
Yes.
It's a major team. There's a lot of followers. It's got a rich history. And he's got to up his game. I wish him all the luck because I know he has the capabilities. Whether the club has the time, whether they have the opportunity to give him that, it's like a little house on fire, because you do know that they haven't emulated the triple that they've won
Yes.
in recent years from Ruud Krol. They haven't been able to emulate that, and that is what Orlando Pirates is. Orlando Pirates is Barcelona. It's Real Madrid. It's Manchester City. It's Chelsea. It's us. It's that type of product you're busy with. So as a coach, you must know that that's the product you're busy with. And if you're going to get time to build it, then so be it. But it's got to be,
It's immediate.
for them, it's immediate.
Yeah.
For Manchester City, it was a building process. And now it's the wheel.
Flowing,
The wheel is just moving. Liverpool, it's a process as well. It's just moving. Manchester United,
There's
it
no
was a
movement there.
process.
There's no
The
movement.
wheels came
It's a
off.
process.
All right,
The wheels came off.
the same you
My
look at
producer should not be hearing
the
me.
same with Barcelona. Barcelona is a motion, and it's moving all the time. Real Madrid is buy and win, buy and win, buy.
Yeah.
That type of team. So you got to understand where Pirates fill in there. And when I look at where they're moving, then I think they're more like a Real Madrid type of product. Whereas when you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, Mamelodi Sundowns, I can tell you when it started.
Yeah.
When it really started.
You were there.
When it really started was with Kappa. Kappa was with Barcelona. Kappa coached, I think, Real Madrid, right?
Angelo.
Yeah. And Angelo Kappa, he was at Real Madrid, right? Or Barcelona?
Yeah, I think Real Madrid.
He was at Real Madrid. And he came and he started it. Neil Tovey, Gamondi won the trophy.
Yes.
Myself and
Yes.
Gordon won it the next day. But the process started. The process started then. And Pizza is just carried on with the process. And that's why it is. And yes, they will have a slump. For how long?
Yeah.
They have to go down somewhere.
Yeah.
But for how long? It's the same like Barcelona. Barcelona have now gone
Yeah.
in a little bit of dip.
Yeah, it's
They will have a
fuzzy.
little bit of
Yeah.
dip. It's
It
normal
happens.
football.
It's a
All
process,
right.
yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. I mean, there's so much. We were going to discuss, of course, as Samoa Gianni is in India there. I don't know, playing
No,
cricket.
we can't be
We
discussing
were
Indian
going to
football.
discuss Chuba, Akpom.
Now those ones are proper we need to
and
discuss.
also, of course, there was a story in Sudan where 12 players from Australia. But anyway, I'm sure next week we have more. We've come to the end of our show. And thanks to you.
We'll be
who
wishing
was
good luck
listening
in anticipation of the bonus
and we
from
want to
winning
wish-
8 million.
Yes, Craig Itafe, of course, playing that MTN final.
Guys.
And also we want to wish our coach and to thank him as well.
Yes.
We want to see you, coach, very
Definitely.
soon
We miss Coach,
to
man. We
do
miss
what
him.
you do best. Already the PSO misses you, I can
Yeah,
tell you,
Coach.
Craig Itafe is
No,
there.
thank you.
But thank you for coming, coach. Really appreciate your time and sharing, your football knowledge and experiences with this crew of the football, of the front football. Thanks to Veli Lemunyandu, Greg Itafi, of course, and Timothy Batabaire. Thank you, gentlemen. Until we meet again, from me, Elasto Capoeja, say good night. All right. Thanks, guys.